out and stuff like that.
Right.
I'll get it and go, oh, but then I think about myself how fortunate we are that people actually,
Mm-hmm.
uh, I don't know if we just went live. Yeah, we are live.
Oh,
Here we go.
oh,
It's time for the Cool Kids Countdown. Oh, yeah, we're live from STS Studios in Jonesboro, Arkansas. I am BT and my co host with the most. Man, dude, I cannot believe I'm saying this, which I bitched about this too, but I can tell you got a haircut. I told Misty, I said, I want him to be able to tell he got a haircut. Man, I was in a grumpy mood about you yesterday. I don't know.
You're just in a grumpy mood in general. I am in the Peeps Pepsi Studios, thanks to Fred Cotto. I'm in the Peeps Pepsi Studios today here in Chicago.
You would be pissed too if those people had your picture on something making all that money.
That's right. Here I was going to be in the Mr. Mellon studio. See, I got it right by him. So if you're viewing, you can see it. You can get a screenshot of that. But if you're not viewing, it's the Mr. Mellon Studios. That's a subsidiary of the Peeps Pepsi Studios today in Chicago.
Right.
So you're grumpy because they're using your likeness, your IP, as it were, your intellectual property without your permission. So I think you get a few shekels off of that.
I have contacted a lawyer about that. They should be giving me my money. Someone put on Facebook that Mr. Mellon needed a goatee, but that don't matter.
We can always fix that. We can always. I have a marker right here. We can always give Mr. Mellon a little.
Guys, this is a special edition on Thursday. We already had our 2 episodes. Well, we had this would obviously be our second episode of the week, but just a special. Also, next Thursday we have another Cool Kids Countdown. We're going to leave that one secret. I hate giving it out, so you guys join us next Thursday right here, same time, same bat channel. No, it's not time to do that. All right, we're doing a Cool Kids Countdown. Tell us all about it, Lance.
We came up with another Cool Kids Countdown, the top 10 wrestling comedians. We always talk about, comedy wrestling. And so we wanted to go back and look at, over the years, current and back before, shout out to John, that all the great comedians. There's been, we always talk about wrestling as a variety show and a smorgasbord, and there's hardcore and Japanese and high flying and everything else. And comedy is one of the things that we always go back to loving. And comedy, when it's good, is great. So before we get started on that, I wanted to throw a curveball to you and tell you some of my favorite comedians over the years, not wrestling related.
Okay. All right.
So off the top of your head, you could come up with a few, but I think my all-time favorite comedian is Sam Kinison. I was lucky enough to see Sam Kinison live, and it was amazing. Just as cool live, seeing him performing live on stage as it was seeing him on HBO specials and stuff. My other 2 I wanted to mention before you get to yours, Jerry Seinfeld and Don Rickles are my 2 of my all-time favorites. Jerry Seinfeld, obviously great comedian, and then the show. And Don Rickles, I just happened to see a documentary on him a couple weeks ago, and just reminded me of how politically incorrect all of his stuff was. But back then, we didn't know. I mean, nobody knew any better. And it was hysterical. And stuff like from 30, 40 years ago on stage was still killing me. Just the way he was insulting people. So those are some
I'm going to actually mention him today because one of the guys that's in our list.
I know who you're going to say, too.
All right.
Yep. So who are some of yours?
My favorite comedian of all time is Richard Pryor.
Yeah, I can see that.
I just absolutely loved the filth.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I was able to get an album like that and be able to hear things that we didn't really hear as kids or supposed to hear. Also, Steve Martin. I grew up with Steve Martin. My humor with my actual, I actually stops. It's like maybe it stopped maybe 15 years ago when it came to Steve Martin. But man, the jerk and the stand-ups that he did, I remember him very much and just laughing and carrying on with my friends with Steve Martin. Now there is a lot of comedians out that get Netflix specials. We're gonna get one, I think, Mr. Mellon and me. But there's a couple of guys on right now, and it's just I just don't really just concentrate on one guy except. And I think Dave Chappelle is one of the funniest guys. Yeah. And if you seem serious, he's a very, very, very smart guy.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's one of the things I just like listening to him talk. And he's got some ideas that me and him's just right on the, everything he says, I'm going, yes. And his comedy, he's not scared to say stuff. And the fourth guy I'm going to say is Kevin James. I've seen him live, and he does a clean set. He is really funny, and I like watching his stand-up a lot. There's a lot of great stand-up guys.
I have a John McAdam fun fact for you. Kevin James grew up with Mick Foley.
No way.
I remember Mick Foley telling me it. He grew up with two guys that you'll know who they are, and it was Kevin James was one, and Dee Snider from Twisted Sister was the other one. So they all grew up in the same neighborhood and went to the same school. So they're all roughly the same age, I would imagine. So Kevin James, John McAdam fun fact. So we're going to do our top 10 favorite comedians in wrestling. Two guys who I wanted to mention before we even get to the list that are not on the list because they are not fucking funny are Grado and Joey Ryan. I never found Grado funny. A lot of people swear by his comedy, and Joey Ryan, a lot of people love that too. And even before all the scandals and shit, I never really found it amusing. I never really found that gimmick amusing. So, and now of course he's done, but those are two guys that are not on our list. So, a couple of really quick honorables before we get to the list. I had two, you had two. Mine that didn't make the cut was DX. I loved DX because the irreverent comedy where they were portraying it as if they just didn't give a shit about the company and the man type of thing. Right. And Kevin Owens is my other one. I think that he's such a good smart.
I would have never in 500 million years thought of Kevin Owens as anything funny.
He's always getting in these sly little under his breath comments and stuff, and it just always cracks me up. So, and then your two that didn't make the cut were R-Truth, who you had at number 6. So that's a really high one. That's how much we agreed on so many of these. So you had R-Truth and Santino Marella at number 10.
Santino was kind of like, I didn't like his comedy, but for a guy that just did comedy, he got over so well. And it's the same thing with you guys that's not on the list that you don't like. Colt Cabana. I can't stand watching Colt Cabana when he does all the silly stuff. That's another guy I don't, but it's not that he's not successful. And R-Truth is our age, very close, I think. And he has always he's a really excellent worker, but he's able to make comedy part of his bit, and he stays relevant as part of, and that's the reason I like him. And I've met him a couple of times. Really super nice guy. So
he's a survivor, that's for sure, because he's been so many different places, and he
makes me laugh.
Almost to stick around.
If he's on the screen, I'm laughing. I'm like, I've got to put this guy somewhere. So.
Like somebody said recently, he's making the best of a bad situation in terms of the material. Like the material they're giving him now with the 24/7 stuff.
I bet he don't think that.
I think in the execution, I think you can say that. As a fan and as a viewer, you can say that.
Yeah, but I bet he just loves what he's doing.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right. So we'll get to our top 10. We actually agreed on 7 of these, which is unlike us to agree on that many. That's why we had a couple honorables on there that actually were pretty high on our list. So at number 10 is one of my high picks that I was shocked you didn't have on there. I had Roddy Piper. I had him at number 4, and you didn't even have him on your list. So I have Roddy Piper. To me, the epitome of a great asshole heel. that eventually became this beloved top babyface. So in WWE, I did not see anything before WWE. So or WWF, I'll go on record with that. I knew who he was, but my knowledge of him before that was after magazines. And that's it. Right. So he was such a dick. He was such a good dick with the coconut and smacking Snuka in the head with the coconut and stuff. But he was also such a good smart aleck. I thought he got away with so much. Again, we're going to talk about a lot of guys that were so non-PC. Back then, they were so non-PC. But he had such a great chemistry with Okerlund especially. One of the things that always got me looking at some of the clips was he would laugh at his own stuff at the most inopportune time. Like he'd be delivering lines and he would just start laughing, and snickering and shit in the middle of it. And I think the one that stood out for me in looking back and doing my homework was the Morton Downey one at WrestleMania 5, where he sprays him with the fire extinguisher. So I loved Roddy Piper. I thought he was a really funny guy. So we have him at number 10.
All right. So I agree. I mean, he was a funny guy. So what I've done is I've went out to find quotes, and you know how good I am on reading quotes.
Yes.
So for every
You're
one
like
of the
Laurence Olivier.
That's right. So every one of these guys, I've got their quotes, some quotes from them, and I'm going to read them. So we picked number 10, Roddy Piper. Here we go. He came out and he said, Roddy cut his locks, but don't worry, women, he's still a fox. Then he said, I'm so quick, I can spit in the wind, duck, and let it hit the old lady behind me. That's fast. Yeah. Quick. And I walk so fast, I talk so fast, I could turn off the light and be in bed before the room's dark. All right.
All right. So at number 9 is your first pick.
Was that? How cheesy?
Yeah, very cheesy, but cheesy
get ready.
By design.
We're going to have some more cheese, guys. Go.
Cheesy by design. That's the new Eric Young's new tag team in Impact. So anyway, all right. Number 9 was your first pick that wasn't on my list. You had him at number 5, which for me, so high. So I'm going to give you a lot of time to justify this. So you at number 9, we have Jerry Lawler, not on my list. I thought he had obviously great chemistry with JR, but that was more at the booth, more at the desk. So for me, too many dad jokes, too many ex-wife jokes, too many puppies jokes. I just didn't think he was as creative. It was as most of the rest of the guys on our list. So I was trying to look for funny stuff and funny clips, but most of what I could find with Lawler was him laughing hysterically with that really high-pitched laugh at like Vince and The Rock and people like that. So tell me why Jerry Lawler.
It was mainly, it's the Memphis stuff. I mean, he always had an insult for the heels, and always had something that made you laugh, but also make you think, he's serious. Now he was over the top. That was Jerry Lawler plus almost during the WWE, and I can notice. I can agree with you on that. It kind of got on your nerves after a while, but he had just a funny guy, and in person he actually is really funny if you're talking to him. The last time I talked to him, or one of the last times I talked to him, it was right after he died, and he came up to me, shook my hand, and he said, "Have you heard?" And I said, "What?" He goes, "Well, I'm on the Walking Dead tour now because I was a true zombie." And I was like, so he does that. He does and Kevin's got his humor too. Kevin, his son, they just you can sit and talk to Kevin, and he is just constantly snap with funny jokes. So that's kind of. But listen to these, okay?
All right,
here we go. Here's Jerry Lawler. The only reason Jake the Snake Roberts doesn't drink and drive anymore, well, it's because he's afraid he might hit a bump and spill his drink. You never know a woman till you meet her in court. There you go. Yeah, he would know that.
Ex-wife jokes.
This man can make a horror movie without makeup. And then he said Jake's feeling a little under the weather. But one of my favorite bits that Lawler ever did was about the hearts. Okay. He's so many funny lines, but this was my favorite. Helen Hart is the only person I know with an autographed Bible. You can't beat that. And if you want to hear more of the Hart stuff, he does it.
I will give you the Bible one. That was good. All right.
All right.
Who is Richard Lee over there with the sound effects?
There
Richard
we go.
Lee
No,
hey,
I got my own sound effects now. Come on, give me a break.
All right, number 8 was my last pick before we get to the ones we agreed on. So I have at number 8 Mick Foley. I had him at number 3, really high on my list. You didn't have him on your list. So again, similar to Piper in the sense that a vile, mean SOB who eventually becomes beloved and completely changes character. So you have the Mr. Sacco in the hospital with the balloons with Vince and the bedpan and Yerpal the clown. And he says he's going to bring Vince some female entertainment, and it ends up being Yerpal the clown, doing animal balloons. The Rocky, This Is Your Life. There's so many great things. So for me, what puts Mick above all the others is how smart he was. He always did. It was always very cerebral. Known him for years, and he's an extremely smart guy, which is remarkable considering how many chairs he had over the head over the years, like thousands of chairs over the head. So, I mean, doing the research for this one, how funny this was, it was such a pleasure to do the homework on this because there were clips of him dancing with the great Khali, the whole 3 Faces of Foley when he did the 3 different characters in the Royal Rumble in 1998. He's the only one out of our list that, as far as I know, has literally done stand-up comedy. So he can transcend all of it. I think he's hysterical. His chemistry with The Rock and Sock connection, a pairing that should not have worked whatsoever, but worked really well. So I have Mick Foley at number 8 for sure.
We got so much talent, those two guys. I got 3 or 4 quotes here. This is not, I like it. It's, if God built me a ladder to heaven, I would climb it and elbow drop the world. I would rather hurt a man than love a woman. There you go. He'd rather hurt a man. On the 8th day, God created mankind. Yeah, I can see that. But this is one of my favorite things with him and The Rock. He says, I'm no expert, Rock, but I don't think I have any poo-tang to give you. All right. We're number 7.
All right, number 7. This is where we start agreeing on our list. So a lot of things that we agreed on this one, which is surprising. So we have Kurt Angle. You had him at number 8. I know he's one of your favorites of overall categories. You had him at number 8. I had him at number 10. What I loved about Kurt Angle was the serious, bright-eyed guy role, delivering the lines that were meant to be comedy, but he is deadpanning it the whole time. So he's not trying to be funny. He's not trying to be outlandish, but just the delivery of the lines, the straight-laced guy amidst the crazy shit that's going on around him, all around him in WWE. So I didn't think that there was any comedy in TNA. When he did his TNA run, I felt like that was all serious stuff, but all of the comedy stuff was from obviously his great years in WWF. The milk truck parody with Austin, that was a classic. Chugging the milk like it was beer, making fun of Austin again. What else? Austin giving Angle the tiny cowboy hat to wear, which reminded me of
my favorite things
Tony Storm. It reminded me of Tony Storm with that stupid top hat.
Yes. I never thought about that. That's one of my favorite things ever on the WWE television.
The Angle singing Jimmy Crack Corn to Vince with the acoustic guitar. So the thing about Angle, never afraid to make a fool of himself between the weird hats, the bad parodies of Cena and Shawn Michaels, and of course, embracing the "you suck." He was the master of the manipulating the audience, because there was a clip I was watching where he comes out, they start it's like one of the loudest "you sucks" coming after him, and he says, "I'm leaving until you people start acting right and still start treating me with respect." And he leaves, he comes back, they do it even louder. They go through this like 3 times on this Raw, and it's just each time the audience is louder and louder. So I just said, for the masterful crowd control, I got to have Kurt Angle on this list.
So good, so funny to me. I mean, such a great worker. We talked about this before we went on, or yesterday. We actually talked about it, or Tuesday, whatever day this is. Fuck, I don't know. Tuesday we talk about that. He said he enjoyed those comedy bits as much or more than actual wrestling, especially the stuff he did with Stone Cold. I got some lines where he said, "Hey." He's talking about how tough he was, okay? So he's proving how tough he is. "Hey, I drank milk that was a day past its expiration date." That's tough, Lance. That's real tough right there. And I just like the idea that he was an Olympic gold medalist, and he took it to everything he did.
Yeah.
There's a bit with Christian that I'm going to talk about. Oh, kayfabe. But he tells everyone, you do not boo an Olympic gold medalist.
Right.
Which in reality, you really shouldn't be booing an Olympic gold medalist.
Right.
And then he's talking about Kane, and he says, your Olympic hero is scheduled to wrestle a match against the man they call the Big Red Retard. And he said, he said, not that I have anything against retarded people, because I don't.
That is going to be a running theme, is the things that they could get away with back then and they can't get away with anymore. So using that word, especially, there's no way you're hearing that on any wrestling show today. And you touched on it. The fact that I think that what made him so funny too is the fact that he was a legit Olympic gold medalist, and he took to the comedy aspect of it. So it was, and obviously the pro wrestling aspect of it, but it was the fact that you did not see that coming. That was completely out of left field to see Kurt Angle, becoming that that compelling of a character in a comedy role. It just came out of left field. So that was one of the things I think I appreciate about him even more. So, all right, at number 6, you kind of teased it. It's Edge and Christian. You had him at number 7. I had him at number 9. One of the things, and I think you're going to get to this, is tormenting Kurt Angle with the kazoos. The 5-second pose for the benefit of those with flash photography. Some great stuff. Great smart asses. Reminded me a lot. It was like I mentioned DX earlier. Disdain for authority, lack of respect for authority. So funny. They were always outsmarting the hapless foes. The hapless heels were being outsmarted by Edge and Christian. Again, no fear of making fun of themselves, always with the funny hats and stupid shit like that. Making jokes. They were so adept at making jokes, but they were also good at being the straight men with all the antics and all the weird shit and stupidity going on all around them. So just really good sarcastic humor from Edge and Christian. And their portrayal of it, like they were above it all. I loved that they were like above it all. I heard a lot of people say like Bill and Ted with them. I didn't get that, but I think Edge and Christian, just great pairing. The stuff with the kazoos was just phenomenal. I loved it.
What you said is so true, though. They could be the straight men and look at other people doing outrageous stuff and say, man, this guy's crazy. But they're just as goofy as the person they're looking at.
Yeah.
Christian had some funny stuff with Kurt Angle, as you said. He said, Kurt Angle says to him, Christian, I have to. I don't want to, but I have to go out there tonight. Christian, do me a favor. Touch these. And Christian says, dude. He goes, no, these. And then he's got his medals. He wanted to touch his medals.
Right.
And then he's messing with Kurt again. This is a Christian comment. He's messing with, they said, they're chanting, you're bald. You're bald. You're bald. He said, that's kind of catchy. And then he sees Angle over there with his hands on his hips. He says, I mean, you're bald, handsome, and manly way. Good luck out there, Kurt. And then Edge, I had to do this because he actually is busting on my favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. He grabs the microphone and says, I know the ironic thing is Christian's really sick and tired of being in Dallas, Texas. And what is up with Dallas's sports franchises? I mean, the Dallas Stars proved that they're not a repeat champions, and the Dallas Cowboys proved that they are not repeat offenders. This was during the time that they were going to jail. It seemed like every few weeks you had a Dallas Cowboy in the jail cell. All right. Hey. It's going to put us to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And guess what? We're staying right here for all of it today. All of it. Give us 5 seconds and we'll come out of the commercials. All right. Thanks to our sponsors. I just want to put everything over. So this Monday, the Record Store has a new episode. By the way, that Tom Petty episode, Lance, pat you on the back for that. bunch of people listen to that. Yeah. And rolling into Mempo on Saturday with my buddy JB there every Saturday at 1:00 right after the show airs. All right, Tails, I got one shout out. We got a new Patreon, and we do appreciate it. Jim, I'm not using your last name because I don't know if you wanted me to. So, Jim, thank you for joining us. We do appreciate it. If you want to join Patreon, get over there on the Shooting the Shiznit Facebook page, and it'll give you all the links to everything we do. You got a shout out or anything there, Lance?
We're gonna update the Taj.
Oh, yes, do that.
The 12th annual Tournament of Junk is going on now. So we have, we have a top seed has already been eliminated. Chicken Noodle Soup is the number 1 seed in the soup region, and it's gone. So we've got some weird upsets. Let's see. We've got the sauce, the beverages, the soups, and the condiments in this year's all liquid Taj. So you can vote on at the Cool Kids group. You can vote on my Twitter at ChocolatierLL. Every day you vote, every vote you cast, you get entered into the drawing. At the end of it all, I draw one random name. You win a $50 prize pack of junk food, as well as a T-shirt by Brian's lovely daughter. And it's just it's so much fun. So we've got a lot of close battles. You can monitor it. I post it every day in the afternoon, and you got 24 hours to vote. And then the next day it goes up. So the championship is on April 5th. We'll be recapping stuff between now and then. Tomorrow, tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow it'll be the condiment region. Round 2 of the condiment region. It's called the Condiment Broke region. So be sure to look for that. And then over the weekend, we're down to the Sweet and Sour 16. So it's moving on quickly. And then the Edible 8, and then the Flavorful 4.
I am so pissed at everyone that voted white gravy out.
Yeah, white gravy. That was I'm told that's not a Southern thing. Everybody that voted was voting for brown gravy. So, But the big upset, New England Clam Chowder at number 16, knocking out Chicken Noodle Soup in the first round.
I could not believe that.
First round.
Yeah,
what an embarrassing exit for Chicken Noodle Soup. So,
all right, let's get to it.
Also, we added a goatee to Mr. Mellon, so now it's closer.
Oh, hold on. Now,
he needs a mustache too. I forgot.
I know people that are people that are not watching this are wondering what the hell we're talking about. But that was me, guys. That was me.
There it is, the mustache too.
All right, let's do.
You need one of those cool hats.
Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
All right. So at number 5, this is the most modern current guy that we have on the list. There's a couple. We have Edge and Christian on the list who are modern guys, I guess, in a sense, but I don't look at them as being comedy guys in their roles, what they're both doing right now. So, but at number 5, we agree on this one, MJF for sure. You have him at number 9. I have him at number 6. So I say the best today, no doubt about it, with potential to keep on moving up the list as far as the comedy goes. So he's the master of quick wit. This guy is 25 years old. He is only going to get better. He's got so many years in the business ahead of him. So he's so quick with the wit, quick with the insult comedy. We've seen so many clips of him insulting fans. We saw it live at StarCast, insulting fans in wheelchairs, for crying out loud. He lives across the line. He doesn't cross the line from time. He lives across the line. So the dude never fumbles. It's always just spot on every single time. Some of the great stuff he's done, the sucking up act to Cody Rhodes, then sucking up to Chris Jericho, and they both bought into it. And then, of course, he turned on them both. The condescending act is just so brutal with the "I'm better than you and you know it," the catchphrase. But some of the best stuff that I found in researching him was some literally stuff that was filmed by fans at merch tables, insulting fans for literally insulting kids, insulting handicapped, insulting everybody. So I just hysterical. We talk about so many guys who can't get away with the non-PC stuff. This guy lives for the non-PC stuff. So MJF at number 5.
Yeah, I did get, exact quotes for him because I was afraid that Facebook, even though I did that angle quote, Facebook would ban me. But here's the thing about MJF, and you even reached out to me and you said he's on Jericho and he's in character. And I hate that shit when you're on one of the shows to try to work people. We know what's going on, blah, blah, blah. But the stuff that, just like you said, that I wanted to make note of, look up MJF insults fans. Man, if you are a wrestling fan and you're not familiar with MJF, and I don't know why you're not, but do that. Also, the last 2 weeks of Dynamite, have been absolutely just tremendous interviews, jokes in them. Here's what's different about him is that he uses, and here we go, Don Rickles' attitude or the way that Don, not always a favorite of mine because of just constant insults, which you think to yourself, some of them would make me cringe, you know. But that's the heel. That's the good thing about him being the heel, that he's able to make you cringe at times when, like you said, being PC and snowflakey the world is, he gets away with a lot. So
you said you have, you don't have, you don't want to say the exact lines because you don't want to get suspended.
No, I just want people,
gotcha.
Yeah.
So, all right, so we'll move on to number 4.
All right, number 4.
That was how the room sounded at StarCast when he was insulting the guy in the wheelchair. So anyway, all right, at number 4, we just talked about him, so we both agreed on this one too. Chris Jericho, you had him at 4, I had him at 8. Can be kind of dad jokey a little bit. The older he gets, he's getting a little dad jokey, but he manages to deliver lines so well. He never fumbles, like I just said, despite 30 years of chair shots and being hit in the head and rarely out with injuries, but 30 years in the business, he still delivers the line so well. So You Just Made the List is the absolute classic for me. You Just Made the List, and he kept on making it more and more extreme and ridiculous with the clicking of the pen gesture. He's just Les Champion. All that stuff was good. Drink It In, Man. The Festival of Friendship, all that stuff with Kevin Owens when they were teaming. The Dinner Debonair with MJF. Little bit of the bubbly. I mean, I could go on and on. The Release the Hounds with Vanguard 1 when he was laying by the pool when Vanguard won, and they let out his little dogs in the backyard. So with the Matt Hardy stuff. So just so smooth on everything. They put him on color, and he comes across like what we were talking about with Don Rickles, just so quick-witted.
Wait, Lance, you can't say that. You can't say that in 2020. Oh, my bad. I forgot.
My bad. So... Oh, yeah, when he was doing color commentary, Brian.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, he was doing color at the desk. So, and the podcast, just the podcast alone is so professional. So, calling Stephanie a trash bag hoe, I think that was another one of the lines that it's so long ago that we forgot some of this stuff. Stupid idiot. So, just so much great stuff from Chris Jericho over the last 30 years.
Yes. Here we go. And you messed up my quote there, but I'm going to read it anyway. Here is the three of them. When he was with Stone Cold, he said, "If you want to see Chris Jericho drink a beer with Stone Cold Steve Austin, give me a doo 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 damn." He said, "I really don't care if Stephanie enjoys kissing Kurt Angle, or if Kurt Angle enjoys kissing Stephanie." Or hell, if Kurt Angle enjoys kissing Triple H. Because as far as I'm concerned, all three of them can kiss my ass. And here is the famous one that started the whole thing. He was actually talking to X-Pac during this. He said, "I feel terrible that you have to come out here and defend the integrity of a woman who is absolutely none. I mean, as far as Stephanie McMahon Helmsley is concerned, the word honor means jump on her and stay on her." Well, let's spell the word honor. I guess Stephanie is half of that. After all, she's a filthy, disgusting, dirty, brutal, skanky, bottom-feeding, trash bag hoe. H-O. And no amount of defending will ever change that. That sounded just like him, didn't it?
It did. Canadian accent and all.
God, that's so cheesy, god awful. I wish I was good at that as Richard was. All right, here we go. I tell you what I need to do. You know what time it is, don't you?
I know what time it is, and I don't want to see it. Shut off the camera. I don't want to see this.
No. Let's bring my old buddy Zach on. He's going to talk to us about the Perfect Package 3.0.
COVID spring break is right around the corner, and you know what that means. Spring break in your pants. Manscaped is here to ensure that the party in your pants never stops. Even Veronica Corningstone wouldn't say no to this pants party. For everyone preparing for a pants party this spring break, I have an exclusive 20% off discount. Use code STSPOD at manscaped.com. Manscaped is dedicated to helping you level up your full-body grooming game. The Perfect Package 3.0 kit comes with the Essential Lawnmower 3.0 waterproof cordless body trimmer and a ton of other liquid formulations to round out your grooming routine. This is the best trimmer on the market for those of you in need of a chest or a ball shave. Their third-generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to advanced skin-safe technology pioneered by Manscaped. You can also adjust settings to get a length you like, and you can stay on top of it with almost no effort at all. Don't ruin any vibes this spring break or upcoming summer with some peeking pubes coming out of your swimsuit. Also, be sure to use their Crop Cleanser Body Wash to keep your hair and skin feeling healthy and fresh. Inside the Perfect Package, you'll also find the Manscaped Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant, an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer, because we know how painful chafing can be when you're wearing your bathing suit all day. You'll also find the Crop Reviver Ball Toner, a spray-on testy toner that's designed to give your boys a little slice of heaven. For a limited time, subscribers get 2 free gifts: the Shed Travel Bag, a $39 value, and the patented high-performance reduced chafing Manscaped Boxers. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code STSPOD at manscaped.com. Do yourself a favor and always use the right tools for the job.
What is that? STS Pod at manscaped.com. Our buddy Zach, we do appreciate that, Zach. Remember, yeah.
I have a ball to pick with him because when he says a bone to pick with him, not a ball. He says a slice of heaven and my boys in the same sentence. That scares me. I don't
that's what Manscaped sent us to talk about. All
scared
right.
about that. So
let's get 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. These are our heavy hitters. These are the 3 that I think, again, we've said this before. You can interchange the 3 and not be wrong on any of these. We agreed on quite a bit of this stuff. So at number 3, we have Bobby the Brain Heenan. You had him at 2. I had him at 5. Interestingly, 2 of our top 3 guys are managers, mouthpieces. So that should give away who the other one is. Heenan was essentially a stand-up comedian in spandex, basically. Because I'm looking back on all these great clips with Heenan. He was a stand-up comedian. Just happened to be a professional wrestler and wrestling manager. Quick wit, chemistry. The chemistry was, I started writing down names. Monsoon, Okerlund, Vince. Basically, anybody you put him in with, he had great chemistry with them. So he just excelled on everything. Again, non-PC. He's telling Polish jokes. He's telling Italian jokes. He's telling Asian jokes and stuff that flew back then that was amazing. And it felt so innocent laughing at this stuff. But there's no way any of these guys, maybe MJF, but I don't think any of these guys are going to get away with roasting like ugly and fat women the way Heenan did and got away with it, roasting the cities they were in. He said one of the lines was parts unknown means downtown Newark. Ham and Eggers. Right. Great phrase, ham and eggers. I never heard that before, but now I'll never forget it because of Heenan. So the weasel suit matches, the neck brace. He was the master of having the neck brace and becoming the detestable pussy manager because of the neck brace. So it was just the greatest stuff that would be so frowned upon today. Just the fact that he would talk so tough, but then be such a pussy in the ring when he was manager and doing all the pratfalls and stuff. So Bobby Heenan, legendary at number 3.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about managers, and we'll have the managers in the description of this. We did a top 10 managers, and he, like you said, we got 2 in the top 3. Some of my favorite quotes, he would, I'm a legend in this sport, and if you don't believe me, ask me. He said that a lot. He's not, and talking about Hogan, he's not pointing to anybody. He's showing off how high he can count. So, Hogan always did the one. Mm-hmm. And cheating's only cheating when you get caught. And bragging isn't bragging when you can do it. So there you go. Bobby the Brain was one of my favorite managers. And when we went back to listen to all this stuff on, was it really that good? And me and you did some observing as over. Me and you both was like, we knew Bobby was good, but man, he is so funny. And the inside stuff that he would say was more like it. So,
like just head and shoulders above everybody else. That was a misfire on the sound effects. like the one guy laughed and then everybody else joined in or something on that one. So that was weird. So, all right. At number 2, we have, we kind of referenced it. Jim Cornette at number 2. You had him at 3. I had him at 1. He was my number 1. So controversial now. But if as a career in the ring, as a manager, if you could try to put all the current stuff aside, I thought he had the quickest wit, the best insult humor. Once again, the rich boy persona with the tennis racket, just always insulting the baby faces like nobody else could. For me, the televised stuff, just my favorite. So, like I said, it's hard to distance it from what's going on today and how he's so, not connected to today's product. But for the bulk of his career, just the best stuff. The one line, and you might have this one, but if you do, I'm sorry. But if it was raining soup, he'd be outside with a fork. That was one of my favorite lines that I saw. So he said it took him an hour and a half to watch 60 Minutes. Those are 2 of the lines that I jotted down. So just a good, fast talker that his brain acts and functions so fast that his mouth had to keep up with it. So that's why he always talks so fast. Again, never a fumble, just so smooth. My question is, how did Bobby Eaton and the Rock and Roll Express deal with it? When they were right there, when he was doing his best material, how did those guys deal with it without cracking up and dying, standing there while Cornette is off on a rant, So they always would match him up with women so that he could play off being such a pussy. But then again, he would get in all these sexist vile lines, working with like Baby Doll and Sunshine in Texas and stuff. So Jim Cornette, just a master at number 2.
I actually may come close to Jim Cornette's voice. But here we go. Here's some funny stuff. Hulk Hogan, you may be a household word, but so is garbage, and it stinks when it gets old too. And then, he always gave Tony Schiavone hell all the time. He said, hey, Tony, I'm glad to see you back, especially after seeing your front. So our old buddy John, I'm going to use you in this. I heard last year at John's birthday party, they had to set up mirrors to make it look like they had a crowd. That John, he's just not popular. And he did this about the rain joke too. Now you had a joke about the umbrella, blah, blah, blah. He always said this: if I told you it was going to rain, then you better go out there and buy a damn umbrella. So there you go. I used that line as Coach BT too. I stole that line from him.
Stealing from Cornette.
Yeah. All right.
So we're at number 1, and I bet you people don't know who this is going to be, because I think after having Heenan and Cornette at 3 and 2, it's going to be out of left field. But at number 1, we both felt very strongly The Rock at number 1. You had him at number 1. He was your top pick. I had him at number 2. I forgot how funny this guy was, in going back. So I got to tell a quick anecdote before we get into the bulk of The Rock. My buddy John, who you just referenced, and my old buddy Jeff went to a Cauliflower Alley function in Tampa in 1996. And they came back raving about this kid that they saw there, The Rock, the Rocky Johnson, whatever. They saw this kid there, and he was going to be this. They both vowed to me he was going to be this massive star. And I thought, I only know that guy from the Flex Cabana character. I don't see anything in that guy. Right. And I shot them down. I said, I see nothing in that guy. And they came back telling me that, oh, no, mark my words. Both of them, mark my words. This kid, Rocky Maivia, is going to be a really big deal. So I have to throw myself under the bus on that one.
Well, I have to tell you,
how wrong I was.
Yeah. I had told that story too. My pick was, I said, Kurt Angle, he'll never learn the business. He'll never learn it. Kurt Angle.
There you go. So we make mistakes too. So with The Rock, the smooth delivery, just from the very beginning, it doesn't matter, basically sucking in the opponent, the foil, sucking in the foil to where he says it doesn't matter. Who in the blue hell are you? The people's strudel. I mean, there's so many ridiculous things that he got over. His timing was impeccable. He was, again, another master of the audiences with the song parodies he would do. He had the audience eating out of his hands while they would be singing. He'd be singing in the ring with the parodies. The crowds would just go nuts. So the third person stuff, he did that almost his entire career with The Rock Says, blah, blah, blah. I would be shocked if they ever handed this guy a script. I feel like they may have given him a couple bullet points, and the rest of it was all just him, whether it fully off the cuff or he put it all together, but just so good at carrying the skits. It didn't matter. who he was working with or what he was talking about. It didn't matter because he was so good at carrying everything off. So Hollywood confirmed that. What we found in him, what we saw in him, Hollywood confirmed it because he's the biggest star on the planet. So, and honestly, a side note, I think the new sitcom, the Young Rock sitcom, works because he's so engaging. He's on that show. The characters that are on that show, we all know them. We love a lot of the characters that are on that show, but those kids that play him at an early age, he obviously has a ton of input in that show. They're pulling it off because it's entertaining as hell. So just everything about The Rock, hysterical guy. So our consensus number one.
He's one of my favorite of all time, and it's because he makes me laugh, and also I just loved him in the ring. And you can't, as a wrestling fan, there's when he was first starting out, you could say, well, his punches, this, that, but this really just and like you said, it proved it in Hollywood. This guy had the appeal for everybody. I've got 3 quotes, and there's a bunch of stuff. One of the things of Vicky. Do you remember the song he sung to Vicky Guerrero? I did not get that, but that's a hell of a song. Look that up on YouTube. It's hilarious. But here's one. Don't you ever, and The Rock means ever, come at The Rock and ask him a question like that again, or else The Rock will knock your teeth so far down your throat, you'll have to stick a toothbrush up your ass to brush them. And he said, he's talking about The Undertaker. He said, The Undertaker with his Mickey Mouse tattoos and his 33-pound head. I was like, what the hell? And then one of the funny things that we got building up for the John Cena match, huge match, money wise, a pay-per-view, was you run around here because John Cena wore all those bright colors. You run around here looking like a big fat bowl of Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah.
So and I think that famous interview he did, he actually had that wrote on his hand. He had put it on his hand, and Cena made fun of him because he didn't, because he had put something on his hand to remind him what to say. So awesome. The Rock is awesome and everything. And I'll agree with you with that show. We've talked about it on here, I think on Patreon. But that show has a talented cast. The lady that plays his mama might be the star of that show. She may be. And they picked the right people. We talked about this one time. Yeah. They just picked the right people to play the parts. And it's fun watching the wrestlers and everything behind the scenes.
Yeah, I think they've done about 5 episodes now. 4 of them have been heavily wrestling oriented. The one was football oriented. There was 0 wrestling. I think it was a week or 2 ago. It was all like Miami Hurricanes football oriented and not at all wrestling. So, but I still say that show is written for us because we're getting the jokes, because we were with The Rock from the very beginning. Thank you.
I forgot to put that laugh track after that. All right, guys. Hey, same bat time, same bat channel on the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there. And as everyone knows, I love my mama.
And as everyone knows, me and Mr. Mellon have fun everywhere we go. And look he's nicely groomed. He was Manscaped, if you are watching.
Manscaped? You don't use Manscaped on your...
Oh, we're not supposed to? Shit.
Not on your... Oh, shit.
Oh, damn it.
I wonder if we're going to get... wonder if we'll get in trouble for saying retard. I didn't even think about it. I just said it again, so it doesn't matter.
The R word. We would like to